I love how I'm making people feel, but I'm kind of hating the experience of having to go in people's space.
Yeah.
Like I'm not mentally equipped for it. Right. So I had that moment where I was like, what can I do? And the thing with when I was doing makeup, I was able to get clients through communicating the value of makeup. Like people would tell me, Vanessa, you could sell anything. Like you just spoke to me about makeup, but somehow you made this so deep and meaningful. Yes, I wanna book an appointment with you. Mm-hmm. So I realized that those skills were transferable.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Aquia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives just like you on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I'm so happy to have you here with me, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. If you are a friend in beauty, I welcome you to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community. If you're looking for a community of like-minded, ambitious friends in beauty to virtually connect with, network, and share resources, then click the link down below in the show notes to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community, and I'll be there to welcome you with open arms. Also, follow Friends in Beauty on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. What I like to do is something called the Friends in Beauty Friday feature, where every Friday I spotlight a different friend in beauty and their accomplishments. No matter how big or small you think it is, I want to shout you out and send you some good vibes. So if you're interested in being featured, all you have to do is use the hashtag FIB Friday feature and tag Friends in Beauty on something that you're doing so I can share it with the community. Additionally, the Friends in Beauty podcast is available on several platforms. We're on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, you name it, we are there. And whatever platform you are listening from, I just wanted to say thank you and just show my appreciation for you tuning into the podcast. And I would love it even further if you took the time to leave a 5-star rating, review, subscribe, comment, something to let me know what you really think about the Friends of Beauty podcast. I would really, really appreciate it. And also join the Friends of Beauty mailing list tribe. Click the link in the show notes. The mailing list tribe knows everything first about Friends of Beauty, and I also send out different resources throughout the week. So if that's something that you're interested in, join me over there as well. Then lastly, share the Friends in Beauty podcast with your other friends in beauty, your family, your friends, whoever you think could benefit from the information that's being shared. Share away to help us grow our community. And I have to say, if you are listening to this episode on the day that it is released, February 3rd, I want to let my Friends in Beauty family know that tomorrow is my birthday, okay? February 4th is my birthday. And if you've been following me on the gram or you've been tuned into the mailing list, then you know that tomorrow I'm officially launching the Friends in Beauty YouTube channel. So right now, the interview episodes and everything are housed on YouTube, but I'm going to be starting the official Friends in Beauty YouTube channel, sharing different, topics and content and all of that. And I'm launching it tomorrow on my birthday. So if you are listening to this, please subscribe to the YouTube channel because it's about to go down over there. I've already recorded and edited the first video that's going up tomorrow. So check that out. Subscribe to us over there. And yeah, I'm trying to get to like 1,000 subscribers in my first week. So please help me reach my goal. That's all I want for my birthday is to reach that goal of getting 1,000 subscribers within the first week of me going live. Okay. Now, in this episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, I welcome Vanessa Marie to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. Vanessa is a launch strategist who helps burnt out one-on-one coaches transition to the group coaching model with her lazy launch plus low effort enrollment process. She helps coaches realize they don't have to do more to achieve more. In this interview, Vanessa shares her overall experience as a makeup artist and why she chose to transition into coaching, the key components to attracting high-end clients on a consistent basis, the advantages and disadvantages of doing one on one coaching versus group coaching. And what's most inspiring is Vanessa's story and how she has triumphed to go on to be able to coach other women towards creating profitable programs in their niche. It was so great catching up with Vanessa. Oh my gosh, she dropped so many gems in this episode. Everything from just life and mindset, mental health, knowing what your worth is versus your value and how to position that when you're doing coaching programs. Oh my gosh, she dropped so many gems, and I told her I know for sure that I'm going to go back and listen to this episode and gain so much from it. And I know this is an episode that you will enjoy too. I met Vanessa as a makeup artist, so when I saw that she transitioned into the coaching space, I knew that I had to have her on the podcast to share her story. So I'm not going to hold you any longer. This is an amazing, amazing interview. So let's go ahead and jump into it with Vanessa Marie. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, Vanessa.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. I'm so excited to have you. No, I had another coach on here before. You're my second coach that I've had on here. And I love to have coaches on here because, as you know, investing in yourself as a beautypreneur is super duper important. So I'm glad to have you here to offer your insight and everything and to catch up to find out what you're up to because we haven't talked in a long time. So
All right.
happy to have you here. So, before we jump into the interview, I want to start off with some icebreaker questions so the friends and beauty community can get to know you a little bit outside of what you do as a coach. All right.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So, the first one is give us three random facts about you.
Okay. I'm 4'11", so I'm not even like legally I could be considered a little person. The next random fact is that I love poetry. Like people don't know that about me. I love writing. I spend majority of my free time writing poetry and I like doing like spoken word at clubs and I don't tell anybody that I go to them. I haven't done it last year because of COVID, but it's like my little secret thing that I do for my soul. And the third random fact is that I practically live on the beach. Like that's where I get reconnected to myself and whatever's going on in life. If I go sit on the beach, I go meditate. And by the time I leave, it doesn't matter what it is, I feel perfect. Like I feel fine. I feel happy.
Are you still in Florida?
Yes.
I'm so jealous. I want to go sit on the beach.
Yeah. It's like I could drive to the beach every day.
Jealous. I'm going to pull a random icebreaker from my pod deck. I got these pod decks as a Christmas gift, like different ones
Mhm.
for my podcast. So let's see what it wants to ask. We'll pull a random one. Oh my God, this is a weird one. Okay, so I'm gonna just read it. It says, would you rather wear adult diapers the rest of your life or never wear underwear again?
To be honest, I don't wear underwear now. So I would just say that one. Like I stopped wearing underwear like 10 years ago and
Right.
I would go with that option.
I
I know
have a
that's
friend
probably
like that.
TMI for some people, but
I have a friend like that. She's like, what is underwear? Like,
why do they make them?
it's so uncomfortable. Like, yeah, I'm with you on that. I might be right behind you, girl. We'll pull another one. This is from the What the Heck deck. Okay, this is okay. So, what was the longest you've ever waited in line for something, and what was it?
Probably like an hour and 30 minutes, and it was food. I think it was maybe the first time I went to Atlanta and I was trying
Slave vegan?
no, I wish it was that way. I was trying I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but one of the restaurants of like the reality show people and me
Okay,
and my cousin were like, we're just gonna try. And to be honest, when it comes to food, I'll wait for forever. So the next long line I'll probably be in is Slutty Vegan, and I'm gonna bring like a tent so I could be ready to wait them 3 hours.
girl. Well, I've never waited 3 hours for slutty vegan, but I did wait a long time the first time I went. And then the second time I took my boyfriend, and it literally like started like storming while we were in line. Like the wind was blowing. He had on a tank top, and it was crazy. But we
You
got
guys
our
stayed in
burger.
you guys stayed, yep.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
I'm so excited to try it.
Yes, yes. So, if you could give advice, a piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I would say to stop focusing on honestly trying to be in relationships, stop focusing on trying to put other people first and learn how to love yourself first, care for yourself. I think for me, the biggest thing is getting a little bit deep, but it's like one thing that I craved from a young age was like finding my own place to fit in and a sense of love because of my upbringing. So I
Mhm.
spent so much time, and I'm still young, but I spent most of my early 20s trying to feel like I belong and trying to feel like I feel loved. And it really halted and slowed down everything else that I was doing because I was focused on a man and not so much on me. And if I could go back, I would literally tell myself, girl, don't even get into a relationship until you pass 25.
Yes. Or 35, shoot.
Yeah.
Because I'm almost knocking on that door. Like, the last one is, if you weren't a coach right now, what could you see yourself doing? Like your dream job, I guess.
If I wasn't a coach, I probably would do something where I'm helping people. So maybe therapy or helping people in their relationships. So like a relationship therapist or yeah, relationship therapist. That's what I would find myself doing.
That'd be cool. I always say that too, like a psychiatrist, psychologist. I don't know what the difference is, but a therapist, I would probably do that too. Because a lot of people always come to me with their problems for some reason. Like,
Exactly. They do now already. And even as a coach, you have to work through a lot of the mindset issues people have. So it's kind of like you're already doing that. But one thing I do on my spare time is like help people with their relationships. So I'm like, listen, that could be something I do later on. Like I enjoy it. And if I find the time, you guys will definitely see me out here like helping you get your relationships together.
yes, the thank you so much for sharing. That's the end of the icebreakers. So we can go ahead and jump into the interview. I always ask people that I know, like personally, when I interview them, I always ask them this question: do you remember how we met?
Yes, we met at Tiana Robinson's 2-day boot camp, and I had already been
Yes.
following you, and I was like, "Oh my god, I love her makeup! Look at her standing right there. She's so cute with her locks." That's what was in my head. So I walked over and I introduced myself to you.
Yes, I remember you were so sweet. And one thing I will never forget is that you let me use your Natasha Denona palette. I was like, oh, she got money. She got Natasha Denona. Okay. I'll never forget you let me use your palette. And that's like one of my favorite looks that I've done like ever. So you were a part of that. So I'm always appreciative. So tell me, because we met as makeup artists first. So I want to get into like how your journey in the beauty industry began.
Yeah, so it started with me watching a lot of YouTube videos. Like that's when like everybody was into makeup on YouTube. But the thing with me is like for some reason I loved makeup, but I hated the makeup that I was seeing on YouTube, like the excessive highlight. And it's like it's not that the highlight was too much. They were doing heavy makeup, but they were doing it in a way that didn't look right. Because
Mhm.
when I learned makeup, I learned that I'm still going to use a lot of products, but the application is everything, right? So I got
Mhm.
into it from YouTube and I wasn't so much into putting makeup on myself. What I really
Yeah.
loved was putting makeup on other people and seeing how they transform. Because so many women, like, they look at people on Instagram and they feel like that's out of touch for them. Like, they feel like, oh my God, those women are so beautiful. They're so this. And it's like, those women have makeup teams, those women have wardrobe, they have stylists. So it's like they're stepping out with their best foot forward when they get on Instagram and stuff like that. And then you're comparing you're comparing your homebody version to their glam team version.
Right.
I really loved how, even when I was doing it for free, how like my mom or friends would kind of like, they would start to glow and they start feeling themselves after you put the makeup on them. And that's when I was like, okay, if I can make more Black women feel like this, that's exactly what I want to do.
I love that. I love that. How was your overall experience as a makeup artist?
Yeah, so for me, it was so different from like what people were telling me to do because everybody, like, I'm a huge introvert, and it's like now I've learned to utilize social media, but back then I really hated being on there. So I was like, if I'm going to be able to get clients, right, but hate posting on social media all the time, how am I going to do this? So for me, it was like a lot of conversation, like speaking to a lot of people. And most of the clients that I got at the time, honestly, were older. Like for some reason, I just gravitated toward older women. Like some of my peers would come to me, but it was mostly like women in their 50s and their
Mhm.
40s. So I was able to get those clients through speaking. And because at the time I worked at my parents' doctor's office, so I learned how to basically communicate my value through my words. And
Mm.
when I would communicate my love of makeup and what makeup could do and my knowledge on the products, then they would say, oh, well, can I see an example of what you've done before? And then that's when I would be able to like show them through my phone. And like at that time, most of my clientele came through that way right there, like just speaking to people. But I really loved it because I just felt like it was a really fun time for me to just play a part in helping women feel glamorous,
Mhm.
helping people with their photo shoots as well. Like it felt fun. And I was so excited to be stepping away from what I originally thought I needed to do, which was go to medical school because I'm Haitian. And if you're Haitian, the only viable careers to them is law, medicine, nursing, accounting, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. I said my family is Jamaican, so I literally have an aunt that literally every time I see her until this day, she's like, "So, like, when are you gonna get a job in your field?" Like, lady, I've been out of college for years. Like that ship has sailed.
they
I'm
never
not.
they never get over that. My mom, even my mom today, like I make money and she still will say comments like, just in case you should get a little something on the side. And I'm like, why would I need to do that? I'm like, do you guys have something on the side? Your business is doing just fine. Why do I
Yeah,
need something?
yeah. It comes from a loving place. They don't know, they're from the old school generation of, 9 to 5, especially coming from a foreign country. It's like the American dream is to, be a
Exactly.
doctor, lawyer,
Yeah.
something like that. They mean well, but like times
They
have
just want
changed.
yeah, and they just want you to have like that stability. So I definitely get it. It gets annoying, but I'm like, I understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what made you make the decision to transition into coaching?
Well, for me, I really like the idea of time freedom, location freedom. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm someone who, like, at the time, to be honest, my I have reached a space where I'm able to cope with my anxiety, but around that time, my anxiety was so severe. And right around the time, even the time where you met me at the 2-day boot camp, it's like right after my best friend had passed. So it's like my anxiety was heightened. So I
Mm-hmm.
went from someone with like regular levels of anxiety to like extreme anxiety. So every time I had to be around a stranger in person, it's like it took a lot from me emotionally, like my energy levels, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
such an introvert and my anxiety was so high. It just took so much to place myself around others. And I found myself in a position where I was like, I love how I'm making people feel, but I'm kind of hating the experience of having to go in people's space because
Yeah.
like I'm not mentally equipped for it. Right. So I had that moment where I was like, what can I do? And the thing with when I was doing makeup, I was able to get clients through communicating the value of makeup. Like people would tell me, Vanessa, you could sell anything. Like you just spoke to me about makeup, but somehow you made this so deep and meaningful. Yes, I wanna book an appointment with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that those skills were transferable, right? People didn't know how to sell what they were selling because they were making it all about the products. They were making it all about, the thing they were selling instead of making about the value that came from the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I didn't jump into coaching first. The first thing I started doing without even getting paid for it was helping friends communicate the value of their offers, figuring out how to kind of market and position themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also like putting together like business cards for people and flyers and stuff on Canva. I really thought I was doing something at the time. I'm like, oh, I could make like business presentations for people. So I was doing stuff like that in Canva for free until I realized like, okay, this is something that you can pay for. So as soon as I realized that I could make money in it, I'm big on investing. So I invested in learning from how to package it. Like, how can I package the skills that I have, the skill set that I have, and figure out who would benefit from it the most. So that's kind of how I tiptoed my way into coaching.
Yeah, yeah. I love that because a lot of times I feel like people put things together. I'm trying to choose my words. So it's like people put things together with the mindset of like, I'm going to automatically sell it, but you did it for free for a while, and then you realize like, oh, like this is actually something people will pay for, and I'm actually good at it. Let me put something together and help other people. But normally it's the opposite. Like, okay, I'm gonna put this together because I want to make money. And there's nothing wrong with that, with
Yeah,
wanting to make money, but sometimes when the energy comes from that, you can feel it, like from being from being a coach, and then being on the other end of like having coaches. I
yeah,
could definitely tell the ones that was like really trying to help me versus the ones that was just like trying to reach their
exactly.
quota.
Exactly, because I've invested in a lot of things. Like I'm someone who's not afraid to put my money behind coaching, and I've definitely felt the different experience with behind people. And none of them are bad people, but
Mm-hmm.
some people, it's like they package something together, they sell you something, and the experience was okay, but it, you can tell, like you said, that they were just putting something together because they knew it would be lucrative. Versus
Mm-hmm.
people who seem to be soul driven or like passion driven, and it's like, no, I really want to make sure I'm helping people. And there's a major difference. Your clients can tell the difference. People who work with you and pay you, they could
Yeah.
definitely tell the difference.
Yes, girl. I've been in some crazy. Yeah, that's a story for another day. But was it was it hard for you to make that transition from being a makeup artist? Like, was your identity tied to it at all, or was it easy like cut?
For me, it wasn't hard because I had a major identity shift at the time in general. Like my whole life, literally, I think my best friend passing was the most traumatic thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That challenged everything for me. And it's funny because the year after she passed was hard, but it was the year following. Like it was like the 2 year mark that it really like I was like, okay, what is going on? What is happening? I felt so confused and
Mm-hmm.
everything that I believed about myself. Like I feel like I really hit an emotional rock bottom. Like my mental space was so negative and dark. Like I had dealt with suicidal ideation in the past,
Mm-hmm.
but now it came back and it was so much stronger. So I was in a really dark place and it forced me to transition because for that time being, I couldn't even work. Like my mental space was so bad that my parents wanted to like check me in somewhere because they were
Yeah.
like, okay, I don't know if she's okay. I don't know how she's going to do. So I had to kind of pause everything. Like I went on a hiatus from everything, even friends. Like nobody saw me for like a good 2 months because I was just on my recovery journey and trying to get to a good space. And I would say getting my mind back to a good space was like climbing Mount Everest. So
Uh,
because of that transition that I was in at that time, it's like everything that I was before was like gone. Right. And because of the fact that I had to halt everything, it made the transition easy because it wasn't like I was like, okay, how am I going to transition now? It was like you just spent the past couple of months doing nothing but trying to get your mind together.
mm-hmm.
So now you are, it feels like a low space, but you're in this beautiful space of being able to rebuild and really focus on what you really want to do because now it's no longer my mind space changed from what can I do to make money and this, and I was like, what can I do to feel fulfilled, to make sure that my life is in alignment so that I never reach this space again, so that
Yeah.
I have the strength and the tools that no matter what life throws at me, I'm able to deal with whatever comes my way.
I totally understand. Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh my God. I'm like literally, even though I have a sweatshirt on, I'm over here getting chills, like as you were talking. Because I shared on the podcast too that my god sister, who was essentially like my literally my little sister, passed away at the end of 2019. So it was really hard because I didn't feel like doing anything. Like, especially when you're a coach or you're someone that someone looks at for inspiration. I didn't want to post. I'm like, I feel like shit right now. How am I supposed to inspire people to, feel good? And I kept on saying, like, I need a break. Like, I just need a chance to just sit down because I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't want to take clients. I didn't feel like posting or anything like that. So, like, subconsciously and consciously, I was like, I need a break. I need to just not do anything. And then the pandemic happened.
Listen, it's like God will kind of give you what you need. And I felt like the pandemic was a good break for me too. And the thing with having those moments is like, if you don't take the break you need, your body's going to force you.
Mhm.
That's what happened to me when I had the breakdown because the year after she passed, I was like in grind mode. Like I did not stop. I was like, okay, I need to get through this. I'm going to keep functioning. I'm going to keep functioning. I think I was like my highest functioning the year after she passed on the outside. And then
Mhm.
my body said, I'm tired of this. I've been trying to communicate to you that I can't do this. So it's like, I'm just going to shut you down myself. And I feel like that's what happened to me. And my body took over and shut me down to the point where I had no choice but to sit my ass down and focus on getting my mind back to a healthy space.
Mhm. And what was that process like? What did you do to get your mind back to a healthy space?
listen, it was so much like the thing that first changed everything for me, oddly enough, was Think and Grow Rich. I read that book and it wasn't so much the aspect of, okay, I'm going to manifest money. That's when I was first introduced to the concept of manifestation, period. So the whole time I was reading this book, I was like, I'm going to take the process that they use to manifest some money, and I'm going to use that first to manifest some happiness into my life. So I read the entire book and I was like, okay, how can I do this? Like everything they said to write down, because they have a couple practices in there where they're like, write down like your vision, sign off, whatever. I don't remember exactly, but I started doing all of that for happiness. So I wrote down so many manifestation thingies on my wall where instead of saying how much money I wanted to have, I started writing about happiness. I started writing about fulfillment. And every single morning when I got up, I would get up, look at the wall, and read all of them. And then I would pray, and then I would go sit outside. And it's funny because I would say the first 60 days of me doing that, I didn't feel it. Like I did not feel connected to it. And I was like, man, this manifesting bullshit is stupid. Like
Yeah.
I really felt like, I was like, I don't think this is really going to work. Because initially there's a disconnect between where your mind is and where you want your mind to be. And what you really have to do is like you have to start becoming a version of the person you see yourself as. So when I was just reading the manifestation on the wall, like the affirmations on the wall, it wasn't enough. When I figured out that I had to say, okay, this person that has the happiness that I want, this person who feels fulfilled, this person who feels settled in themselves no matter what's happening outside of themselves, what does their life look like? What do they do on a daily basis? How often do they talk to God? How often do they ruminate and have a pity party versus celebrating themselves and putting together a plan for how to move forward?
Yeah.
So when I did that, then I was like, everything that I think this person lives like, I'm going to start living like that today. The minute I did that, my life changed. And I'm not saying it happened overnight, but it was like a gradual process. Like I said, for me, it was like a mountain climb. But the minute I made the connection of I need to be the person that I see myself as today, as much as I possibly can, that's when I started to really see the progression. And then to take it a step further, I invested in therapy because I was like, I can't do all of this on my own. So I had a therapist, I got my butt in therapy, and my therapist at the time, he helped me put together a plan for, how I was going to get my life back on track because like I said, everything was paused. And he helped me put together a plan for how I'm going to move forward. Like, what are the steps I'm going to take? And also how to frame my thinking so that I wasn't, in such a negative space all the time. Because I know I'm kind of going on and on about this, but one of the things that happens when you're in a state of depression sometimes is that you forget how strong you are and you forget that you have the tools to pull yourself out of it, right? So you look for external factors to help you. But my therapist reminded me, like my therapist would always tell me, he's like, for some reason, I have more faith in you than you have in yourself. And I believe you're stronger than you think. So I had to remind myself of that strength and realize that I have the tools. Like I had a moment in time where every time I'll have a panic attack, I felt like I needed to drive myself to the hospital because I was like, this is the time I'm actually dying. Like if you've had panic attacks before, you think that you're having a heart attack, asthma attack, whatever. So I transitioned from letting the anxiety and depression overcome me to just getting to a space where I was like, no, Vanessa, you're strong. You feel like you're about to die right now, but you're doing just fine. And it was it took me a year. It took me a whole year to transition, but it was so worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what a lot of people need to hear too, is like take that time that you need. A lot of times we're so caught up of like staying relevant or keeping up with the Joneses or whatever that we don't want it. We're afraid to take a break. We're afraid that we're going to miss out on something or miss out on clients. But you got to take care of yourself first in order to be able to like serve other people at a certain capacity. Like you can't pour from an empty cup, pretty much.
Exactly. If you're not in a good place, nothing else is going to come together.
Definitely, definitely. So tell me more about like what you do as a coach. Like how is your program like structured or what are you actually teaching people how to do?
Yeah. So what I realized, and I know this sounds bad, is that I am lazy. So because of the fact that I'm lazy, one of the questions I always ask myself is like, how can I have the most impact without actually having to do the most? So it took me a while to actually figure out what that looked like. Because most people, when you start out in coaching, you start out doing one-on-one. So I started out with one-on-one and I love my clients, but I felt like I was always drained on those one-on-one calls. Like I said, I'm an introvert. It doesn't take a lot. I'm an introvert and an empath. So my energy is always like, listen, it doesn't matter if we have an amazing conversation, I still like it pulls from my energy. So I realized like those back-to-back one-on-one clients, it started to take a toll on me where I was like, I love them, but this feels like too much for me. Like I started to feel drained. And it got me to a place was like where I was like, maybe I don't want to do this. Like maybe I did the wrong thing. And it wasn't the one-on-one, it was the capacity that I was working with my clients. And then I transitioned to like doing VIP days. And VIP days are amazing. And for anybody who doesn't know what a VIP day is, it's pretty much like serving your clients in one day. So maybe you might have a 3 to 6 hour session where you're kind of giving them a higher level view of what you would give them in a 3 month coaching program, but kind of equipping them with all of the tools that they need. And that was cool. It freed up more time in my schedule for sure. But after those 5 hour sessions, I was drained for like a whole 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, I was like, well, what way do I need to work with people for me not to feel so tired?
Yeah.
Right. So then what I started doing was working with people in a group capacity and figuring out how I can enroll people into a group setting. And when I did that, that's when everything changed for me because you literally can start from one person and grow that group to 20, but the amount of time that you're working doesn't have to increase. The amount of your responsibility doesn't have to increase. Right. So that's something I help my clients with now is that I help them package their coaching programs into a model that's not only scalable, but it also helps their clients get better results. It frees up their time. It allows them to have time where they're able to focus on marketing and client acquisition, which is getting the clients. Because sometimes when you're doing one-on-one, you'll market for the clients, you get them, and then you have to kind of pause to serve them. And then it's like, all right, I'm going to market. Right. And that's fine for people who are doing launches only. The one thing that I discovered is that I don't like relying on launches because launches require big energy, right? And that can burn you out pretty quickly. And I was like, okay, so also, how can they enroll their clients on a consistent basis so that they can just focus on getting 4 clients a month, 5 clients a month, instead of saying, I'm going to do this huge launch and I need to get all 30 people into my program right now.
So it's kind of like a rolling basis that they're
yeah,
enrolling people.
yeah. So that's what I help them implement. And I also give them the systems to be able to do that so that they're not manually doing anything. Like no more manually sending out contracts, sending out invoices, like all of that is like done.
I love that. I love that. Girl, coaching is not easy. Like I've had a few programs and I feel like I've done it that way. And that's probably why I felt a certain way about it. Like I was doing like launches instead of like trying to consistently just roll people through. You know, it does take a lot of big energy to
like when you think
I was doing like the enrollment calls too.
Yeah. When you're doing launches and cohorts, it puts so much pressure to enroll everybody at once because it's like if your program is 3 months and it's like I need to get everybody at the start of these 3 months, we do the 3 months, then maybe I have a break in between and then I'm gonna open the program for enrollment again. When your program is ongoing, you can still do launches, but you can consider your launches as marketing campaigns or a promotional period, right? You can still have those when you want, but it's more so relying on your weekly content, like one live stream per week, and having conversations with your prospects to get them enrolled into your program. And it's so much easier when you get rid of cohorts because now people join and their journey in the program is on their own time. But you need the systems for that. So if you have a bunch of different people whose start and end dates are different, and they're working on different things. Now what you need is the structure and the system to make that work because it's really easy to manage that kind of program. But if you don't have the systems, it gets confusing. And that's why one of the first things that I help my clients do is set up those systems so that they can keep track of, okay, when was this person's start date? When is their end date? What does the communication in the program look like? What am I telling them before their time is up? Like all those things are important. And once you do that, you get to a space where running your program is so easy. Like one of the things I know people used to experience is like they would do a launch and it wouldn't go how they planned and they might get 1 client. Some people experience that if they don't have a large audience. If you're doing like an evergreen model, which is what it's called, where you're doing that ongoing enrollment, it doesn't matter if you get that one client because you still are you're still enrolling people as you go along. So it's like that one will turn into 3, it will turn into 5, it will turn into 10. So now you can focus on enrolling people throughout the year instead of these short little gaps of, okay, I need 10 people right now to hit my goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What's an example of like some of the programs that your clients, I guess, have?
Yeah, so there's so many different types of ones. Like one of my favorite clients, she has a program. Her name is Latoya Matthews. She has a program where she helps women post-abortion
Oh.
heal from their abortion. And one of the things that she spoke of was how she noticed that after abortion, women deal with a lot of guilt, and that guilt kind of stops them from living a fulfilling life. Like sometimes their relationships, the quality of their relationships decrease, they're not able to function at a high level. So she packaged an amazing program where she helps women get through that so they can get to a good place with self-love, but also being able to have a better connection with their partner, their children, or their future children. That was one of my favorite ones because we don't see anything like that. Then you have people who are, there are other business coaches or branding strategists who are helping people with other aspects of business. There are career coaches. I love career coaches because in this day and age, everybody is running to entrepreneurship because they think that's the only way that they can achieve financial success, but it's not for everybody. Like you can have a very fulfilling and thriving career and make a lot of money. So that's why I really enjoy people in the career coaching space. But honestly, it's anything. Like there are real estate agents who come to me and say, I want to package a program where I'm teaching people how to get ready to get to the point of being able to buy their home. So one of the things people say sometimes is, well, I'm not a coach. I don't consider myself a coach. And you don't necessarily have to call yourself a coach. You can just have something that you know you can teach people. Like if you have a skill set that you can teach, you can create a program. And that's kind of how you get to the point from being the doer and your money being dependent on your physical presence, like you actually having to stand up somewhere and show up for work, versus transitioning to the teacher where you can teach people how to do the thing that you achieved and you can make money from home and get to that time freedom, location freedom that I kind of was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I know a lot of people struggle with not so much what to teach. Well, I guess it is what to teach because a lot of us have like so many talents
Yeah.
that we're like, which one should I choose? And if I don't choose this one, isn't the right one? And do you ever run into that? Like people don't know what to choose to
Yeah,
teach?
for me, not so much because I'm more so focused on coaches who already know what their expertise is.
Got
So
you.
I don't necessarily help people build up and start it from scratch, but it's like if you know what your expertise is, but you just don't know how to create the program around that, or maybe like my sweet spot is helping people transition from one-on-one to a group and doing it in a way that's scalable. And I really help them nail their messaging and their client attraction systems and strategies. So I don't necessarily get people who don't know what their area of expertise is. But what I do see a lot is people who are struggling with niching down.
Mm-hmm.
So they know their professional categories, what I call it. So they'll know I'm a career coach, or they'll know that I'm a business strategist or whatever. But when I tell them, okay, what is your specific niche? Then it's like, okay, I'm not so sure. I don't know how to get more clear on who specifically I'm helping because I can help people with so many things. And that's when I do see that where it's like, I'm a business coach and I can help people start their business, but I can also help them scale their business. I can help them market their business, but I can also help them with the branding. So some people are just like, I can do all these things. So can't I just do everything and attract everybody? Like, won't that help me make more money? That's what I usually see people struggle with.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, in your opinion, like what are like the key components to consistently attracting those high-end clients?
Yeah, so the one of the things that I teach is that the core systems to a business that flows and is profitable is you need your lead generation, you need your nurture system.
Mm-hmm.
After your nurture system, you need a conversion system, and then after your conversion system, you need basically a way to kind of retain those clients, so your retention system. So if you look at your business and you see that it's not going the way that you want, like you're not making the amount of money that you want, and you don't know where the gaps are, you can look at those four things and you'll be able to identify that your gap is more than likely in one of those four things. For some people, it's all of them. So you have to build all of those things. For some people, so for example, your lead generation might be lagging. So you might do a good job at nurturing your current audience. You might have done a good job converting the people that do see you, right? And you do a good job retaining them, but it's slow because you're not getting new leads into the door. And so if you want to break past your income plateau, what you have to figure out is, okay, how do I get to a space where I'm attracting new leads? And that's not Instagram followers, that's not people on Facebook, that's not Clubhouse, because I know everybody's on Clubhouse right now. It's actually leads. So how do you get people into your ecosystem beyond just following you, so that you can now put them into your nurture system and then your conversion system, and then focus later on how to keep that client, right? For some people, they have a lot of leads coming through the door, but after the leads come, that's it. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep posting my content on social media, but those people are not going down the process. So from an overview, pretty much your lead generation is like attracting new people who don't know you yet. Nurture is, how do I foster a relationship with the people who are already here? You know, if people are not DMing you and saying, I want to know more, or how can I work with you? You know, that, or if they're not scheduling calls with you, that's a key sign that your nurture system is broken. If you're getting people on the calls, but they're not converting, then your conversion system needs work. And if you do a good job attracting the clients, but most of your time is spent trying to acquire new ones instead of retaining a good amount that you do have, your retention system is broken. So those four things right there are what you have to focus on to get to the space where you can consistently attract clients, but also have a profitable and healthy, thriving business.
Yes, I 100% agree. I think my what was it? Not the conversion. It might be my conversion. Man, I used to be terrible at those enrollment calls. I would like secretly like sign up for different coaching programs. Like I would see like from the outside looking in, and I'm like, it doesn't look like they do enrollment calls. So I'm gonna go with this coaching program, and then it would be enrollment calls. I'm like, oh my God, like I'd suck. If I could just hire somebody to do it for me, it would be like awesome. But I
That's
sucked.
that's what some people should do. Like honestly, you can set aside a budget and have a salesperson or a
Mhm.
social seller, and it doesn't have to cost as much as you think to begin with. And it's like some people, that's what they need. Some people are really emotional and empathize with everything people say. So, and that's not a bad thing, but they sabotage their own sales because they're not able to disconnect the emotions from it. And that could be someone who might need to have someone getting on the sales calls for them, or selling. And there are different ways to sell. Like you might sell better in DMs. Like for some reason, for me, I enroll people so much better without ever getting on sales calls. And when I was getting on sales calls, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as good for me. So for some
Mhm.
reason, I do better with DM selling. So for if you're listening, you might do better enrolling people into your program or whatever you sell in the DMs. That's a way to sell. For some people, can't do that. You might need to jump on a sales call. But
Yeah.
whichever process you're using, you have to have a defined sales process. Like,
Mhm.
and having a defined sales process doesn't just mean, oh, I'm going to tell everybody to schedule a call and then I'm going to get on a call with them and close them. That's not necessarily a defined sales process. You need a clear and defined sales process you can walk people through to make sure that you are able to get those conversions, along with a good, maybe a good sales script. Some people are just winging it. So if you have a good sales script with a good sales process, then you'll see a dramatic increase in your, conversions, as long as you are pre-qualifying people. That's the piece that's missing for some
Yeah.
people, where they're not closing them because they're getting on sales calls with everybody. And you really need to make sure before somebody even gets to the sales conversation with you that they're pre-qualified. They should have some level of interest before they get there. It should
Definitely.
not be their first introduction with you. They need to have a good idea of how you can help them, and you need to have a good idea of whether or not that person is even a good fit for you to work with.
Hmm. Definitely. I definitely agree on that. It's much harder to close like cold.
Yeah,
Yeah. How do
exactly.
you I guess you as a coach, how do you go about like navigating, or not even navigating, how do you go about assisting people with their mindset issues and like digging deep and figuring out what drives them? Because I know a big part of coaching and like offering like high ticket like coaching programs, it has a lot to do with mindset. And I think the reason why some of mine wasn't, because I did have successful programs, but the one that I was trying to do the last time did not go over at all because of mindset. Like you have to have a certain mindset in order to even say a certain number, like, yeah, this is what it is. Like how do you like help your clients overcome like their objections with themselves in order to like have those programs where they can scale their business?
Yeah. So one of the things that for me, I do a lot of research, reading, and I have joined in programs that help with mindset. And I've done research on like neurolinguistic programming and things like that. And I just do a lot of studying. I did it for myself because I had major mindset issues. You know, I had a lot of self-doubt. I had a lot of like issues with worthiness. So the fact that I had to walk myself through that journey, I can identify quickly when it's coming up for someone else, right? But it's kind of twofold because sometimes the confidence in the price point, the offer comes from clarity in what they're even offering.
Okay.
So kind of, I would say 40 to 50% of the confidence or the feeling like, oh, I can't charge as much for it goes away when you really help people to structure what their offer looks like, the messaging behind it, and the pain points. So one of the things that I make my clients do is a bridge activity where the bridge activity is pretty much figuring out where are your clients before they work with you, where are they after they work with you, and what is the bridge? The bridge is usually your offer. And when you're figuring out the before, what you have to do is you're literally writing down everything that you would consider their hell space or their negative space. Like those are their pain points. Right. And when after people go through that activity of writing down everything people are struggling with before they work with them, and some people struggle with that because they're like, well, I'm not saving lives. So what are they struggling with? It doesn't matter if you're not saving lives, it's not surgery. There's something that your clients feel before working with you, right? It might be that they don't feel beautiful, and that lack of feeling beautiful is tanking their confidence. And because they don't have the confidence, they're operating a certain way in their relationship. Maybe the sexual aspect of their relationship is kind of dead because they don't feel the connection to themselves or lacking that kind of confidence, or maybe their level of happiness is lower. Like all those things that are happening before someone gets to you, you have to be able to jot all those things down. Yeah. You have to be able to give like an essay on that. And then you want to do the same thing for the other side of them working with you. Like, how does their life become so much better? And after you do that and you're able to plug in your offer as a solution to be the thing that gets them from where they are to where they want to be, I see the confidence kind of go up to where people are like, man, my offer should be double this. Yeah. They're like, I'm helping them with this much. Like I was tripping with $2,000. It needs to be $4,000. Right. So I see that. And then the other thing that I help them to realize is that they need to detach from, they need to detach. Some people have this thing where it's like, charge your worth. This is what I'm worth. And I tell them this is not what you're worth. Like we're not charging based on your worth. We're charging based on the value. Because if you continue to try to charge based on your worth, then every time someone says, no, I'm not going to pay that, then it feels like a personal blow to your worthiness. It's a personal attack now. Like I'm not worth this. I'm not good enough. But if you detach it and you say, this is not about me, this is the package that I'm offering, it's valued at $5,000 or however much you feel, right? And you say, okay, it's valued at this because I help you do all these things. I'm helping you overcome these obstacles and get to this dream state, which is kind of what I was just talking about before. Then it becomes so much easier to state your price, and you'll feel like you're robbing yourself if you don't state your price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I love that you said that says the value, not like this, I'm charging what I'm worth. That makes so much sense. That's like an epiphany, like, because it really does hurt. Like when I was doing those things, I was like, I know that this is a good program. Like, I'm tripping, like it's whatever. So what are some of like the common misconceptions you see when it comes to having a coaching program? Like what do people think that it's going to be and it's not really, that?
I think that sometimes people think a coaching program is just getting on calls with people and telling them what to do. Like
Mhm.
they're just gonna get on calls. I've even seen people put together, coaching programs where they are like just getting on the weekly calls and they're just talking in that format. And that's fine if you want to do that, but sometimes people don't get the best results that way. So coaching is not just about giving people tips and telling them what to do,
Mhm.
right? It's really about helping guiding people to a solution or guiding people to a place that they want to get to.
Yeah.
And the way you structure that makes all the difference in whether they get those results or not. So when I put together a coaching program, there is a course component combined with the coaching. So it's like the course component is the lessons that they can go through that walks them through how to implement the process that I teach them. And then the coaching is like me getting on the calls with you to support you through what you need to do. All
Right.
right. So I would say that that's one of the misconceptions I see, that people think that being a coach is just, oh, I know how to do this thing, so I'm just going to tell people how to do this thing. And it's not that easy, because anybody who's created a program before knows that getting people in the program is one thing, helping them get the results is another,
Mhm.
right? Because especially for those of us who really want to make sure we get our clients results, it doesn't feel good to take people's money but feel like they're not doing what you told them to do, or they're not doing what you've lined up for them, and now you're sitting here like, how do I get these people to do this stuff? Like, because first of all, this money is not like, it's not going to serve them if they don't get the results, and it doesn't serve me if they don't get the results, because I'm not getting the kind of testimonials that I want. So I think people
Mhm.
think it's easy to just put together something, and that's why a lot of people don't want to invest in programs or don't want to invest in certain things, because they feel like, well, I know how to do this thing, so I'm just going to teach people how to do it, and they think that it's as simple as that, and it's not.
Right. Definitely. Because people just, a lot of people need you to walk, like hold their hand a lot of times. Even the coaching programs that I've been in before, I'm an implementer. Like I'm the star. Okay. Like when I'm in a coaching program, I did not spend all this money not to implement the stuff that I'm being taught. So a lot of times when I'm in coaching programs, I'm that person that's like implementing. And I've literally seen people come to calls like every week and then like not do the things that are being instructed to do on the, so a lot of times people, when you have coaching programs, it seems like they really need you to coach them. They need somebody to like hold them accountable and all of that stuff. So if you're not having those like check-in calls with them, they will literally like just pay for it and let it collect dust. And
That's why courses don't get the same level of results as like an actual program does, because of course it's like they just do it on their own, and for some reason people don't take action that way.
Mhm.
When you have those like calls, provides another level of support to where
Yeah.
they're really able to work through the issues that they're having as they try to implement things. Another thing that plays into that is the price point. Like when the price point is above a certain level, you are going to decrease the amount of people that are not taking action. So for me, I believe that high ticket is at least $3,000 and above. For some people, it starts at like 2,000, right? But once you get above that $3,000 price point where you're charging like 4,000, 5,000, there's people charging 20,000 for their programs, 10K.
Yep.
Once you get to those price points, then people come ready. People come ready, and they don't waste time. They don't play games, because that money serves as fire under their ass to do what they need to do, right? For
Definitely.
some people, $1,000 is expendable. For some people, if they spend $1,000 or even $2,000, that's not enough for them to feel like, okay, I need to rise to the occasion and do what I need to do. There's some
Mhm.
people who are naturally implementers, like you said yourself, where you're going to do it regardless because you're self motivated, right? Some people are not necessarily like that, and they need to kind of have more at stake to kind of do what they need to do. And I've seen that as the level or price point increases, sometimes it's not even different clients. Like you might still work with the same clients at a different price point, but they operate differently at that higher price point.
Definitely. And I've noticed too, with higher price points comes bigger objections. Like, how do you like? What are the most common like objections that you've heard when trying to enroll people, and then like, how do you overcome them? Because everything it really does boil down to mindset. A lot of the times, the objections that I've heard, it really is like mindset, or it's financial, or it's like I gotta talk to my husband, or you know.
Yeah. some of the most common price point that you'll hear sometimes is the money aspect. And I know that if I'm hearing too much of the money objection, then I have to look at what's happening before the sales process. So when I get too much money objections, and I say, okay, what do I need to do at the nurture level and with my sales process to diminish the amount of money objections I get?
Mm-hmm.
The things that I teach people is whatever objections you get need to become your content so that you can start addressing those objections before they even get to the call. Because
Right.
the idea is that you want people to be sold before they get to the call for the most part, so that you can decrease those objections coming up. And the way that you overcome a pricing objection is making sure that you show them how they'll really will get a return on their investment. You can do that many different ways. You can do that by laying out aspects of the program. So one of the things I teach with the sales process is that consider your sales call or your sales process like you're a doctor. The first thing that you do is like you're investigating, because you're trying to get like, you're trying to figure out what's wrong with them. And after you figure out what's wrong with them, then you are going to diagnose them. After you diagnose them, you're going to prescribe treatment. The same thing with your sales process. So when you are investigating, you're asking them questions around what's going on, trying to figure out what's wrong. When you get to the diagnosis level, sometimes people skip diagnosis and they go straight into asking questions and then treatment. Like, okay, I heard everything that you're going through and I think I have something that will benefit you. Mm-hmm. But that diagnosis level is really good because it's like, okay, based on these three things that you said were an issue, here's what I feel like you would need to work on to get better at this. So kind of highlighting those things. And after you do that, then you would say, and the good thing is that this is what I help my clients with. So you have to tie the things that they need to work on and kind of giving them something. It kind of demonstrates your value, and you're not giving them away everything, but you're showing them that you actually have a plan of action for someone who is struggling with what they're struggling with. So you say, here's what I would recommend you doing. And is this something that you would want support in? And then you tying it to your program and breaking down what they would be doing in your program, how the time in your program would be spent, and how you would specifically be helping them, like tailoring it to what their goals are, right? But before you even do that, to get over their objections, you want to overcome those objections before they get on that call. So if you know a lot of people have pricing objections, can you speak to past clients who also had pricing objections and get a little video from them where they say, listen, before I joined this program, I was scared. It was my last X whatever dollars, and I didn't know if it was going to be worth it. And then as soon as I joined, I knew I made the right decision. Within 4 weeks, here's what happened, right? You can line up those testimonials with what the person is having. And some people don't think that they can tailor the sales process to that person. Like if you have follow-up emails, you would send out that follow-up email with that specific testimonial about their objection as well. And that will help them overcome it. So it's like really being creative and thinking, how can I make sure that this person feels like this is not going to be a mistake? Because they're just scared. They want to make sure they get their money's worth, right? And then another thing that I recommend people doing is just making sure that you schedule a follow-up right on that call. Because sometimes when they say, I need to speak to my husband or I need to whatever, then we just let them go. And it's like, perfect. I would say, I love the fact that you want to speak to your husband. Matter of fact, let me schedule the next call with you today. And on the next call, we will be deciding whether or not you're going to move forward. And then the emails that you send them in between that can be some of those emails with testimonials, or that will bridge the gap between where they are right now, feeling like they're scared or feeling like the money might be too much, and showing them how, it's going to be worth the, the value.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. Totally true. Because I learned that the hard way of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk to my husband. You called him and they don't answer the phone. Okay, I see you, sis. It's cool. It's all good. So when do you think someone should consider implementing coaching, like adding coaching into their business model?
I think as long as you are going to be teaching people a process that is proven, meaning you have tested it on yourself or on other people and you know it works, you don't need to wait to start teaching other people. Some people feel like I need to wait 2 years. I feel like it's too early. And no, if you have gotten a result or someone else has gotten a result with that process, then there's no need to wait to start helping other people with it. But I will say, before you just jump out here with a program thinking that it's going to sell because you put something together, you have to understand that people don't really care about the things that you offer. They care about how it helps them. They
Mhm.
care about how it helps them solve their problems and how it helps them get to where they want to be. So before you are able to understand what messaging is and clearly communicate your messaging, clearly communicate the value of what you're offering, have a price point that you feel confident in, until you understand your client's pain points and you understand these people like the back of your hand. You're clear on who your target market is. You have a defined sales process. Until you're able to do those things, don't feel like it's going to be easy. You need to either do some research or invest in working with someone who's going to help you put those things together so that you're not out here stumbling and saying, my offer sucks when it really isn't your offer. It's just that you didn't have those other key pieces to make it sellable.
Right, right. So for those friends in beauty that are out there looking for a coach, like why should someone choose your coaching program?
Yeah, so if you are someone who has done a little bit of one-on-one coaching and you know that you're at the space where you want to transition from one-on-one to a group because you want to consistently enroll high-ticket clients without ever having to run into burnout, you're at the point where you're looking to kind of grow and scale your income, then I'm definitely someone who could assist you in doing that because you know that you want to work with your clients in a leveraged way and you want all the systems to be able to attract those people, nurture them, convert them, and retain them, and do it in a way that frees up some of your time. So if those are things that interest you, I'm definitely somebody that you should check out.
Awesome, awesome. And I'll leave all her information down in the show notes for sure. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for doing this. Before you go, I have to ask you the Friends in Beauty rapid fire questions. So whatever comes to your mind first, you'll do great. You're amazing. Just let me have it. So the first one is, what are your top three keys to success so far?
My top three keys to success are letting God lead. So for me, having God at the forefront. The second one is getting your mind together, whether that's therapy or reading, whatever it is, and then getting your body together. So having your health together, eating clean, exercising, those three things will set you up.
Nice. How do you measure your success?
I measure my success by how I feel. So if I feel in alignment, then I know I'm doing well. If I'm feeling off, I'm not sleeping well, or just my level of happiness is down, then I don't feel my best at that moment. So that really, my success comes from feeling like I am in alignment.
Mhm. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh, the best advice I've ever received was kind of like a mini sermon. They were preaching to me and they told me that I am worthy and that I was born worthy, right? And that I never have to prove my worth to anybody, and that I needed to read Ephesians 4, verse 1 on a daily basis to remind myself to walk as if I am worthy of the thing that I am called to do. And it was really short thing that they told me, but I read it every day and it gets me ready for my day and it makes me feel like, yes, I am supposed to be doing what I'm doing.
Love it. What advice would you give to someone who's just ready to give up?
I would tell them that the breakthrough comes on the other side of the giving up. So, right at that moment when you feel like you need to quit, when you push through, the glory is on the other side of that.
Definitely. What's a resource that's helped you in your business that you can share with the friends and beauty community?
Ooh, um, I would say joining groups and programs. So that's not really like a free resource, but that's the one thing that helps me is plugging into communities. I go to events. So if you find events that are related to what you do, go to them, meet women or men that are just like you who have a similar goal, and that will get you further than watching videos on YouTube or Googling things. Like that is my best resource is finding communities filled with people who are like me and have similar goals.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, sidebar, how happy I was to see you at the Social Proof Conference that time. Like, what are the odds? Is that Vanessa? I was so excited to see you, girl. Oh my
Me
gosh.
too,
That was so
right?
dope. Last one is I want you to fill in the blank and say, my name is blank, and the key to longevity and success is whatever you think it is.
Ooh, okay. My name is Vanessa, and the key to longevity and success is making sure that you are in complete alignment. You need to feel good mentally, you need to feel good physically, and you need to feel good soul wise. So whatever helps you connect those three things. And it's really not about money or the job that you do. It's about finding what keeps you grounded in life. If going to the beach makes you feel soul connected, if reading your Bible makes you feel good mentally, if jogging makes you feel good physically, make sure you plug those three things into your life at least on a weekly basis, if you can, on a daily basis, so that you can keep yourself in a prime state where you're able to continuously push forward.
Awesome. I love it. Before you go, share all of your social media info and how people could contact you to get coaching.
Yeah, so if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram at the Vanessa Marie. And if you just click the link in my bio there, then you'll see all my other links to join my free Facebook group where I host weekly live training sessions. And you can learn more about my program by clicking the apply for private training link. And I also have a free resource there, the Consistent Clients Playbook. So if you're interested in anything, the first thing is to jump over to my Instagram page and then go to the link in my bio. You'll see everything there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. This is really good because I know I want to listen back to this and grab all of the gems that you just dropped. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciated it.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find this show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, hashtag Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.